Hi, welcome to the Wurdenberg Family Farm with Dawn and Brenda.
It's getting cold outside, but you know how I know it's winter?
How do you know?
Because your larder is full.
Yeah, join us and I'll show you all around my larder and what we canned and preserved this year.
Okay, we were able to make some improvements to the larder. One thing we did, it's the same room, but we have more space because right here there was a 275-gallon oil tank that we took out. Now we're in the process of becoming net neutral, so we took out the boiler and the oil tank, and the side benefit is that you have a whole basement here dedicated to your larder.
The whole room.
Yeah.
This might actually be my favorite room in the house. For those of you that have never actually seen our larder, we're actually in the basement under the 1840 part of the farmhouse. So it's all limestone walls, which to me is just really charming. I'm weird, I love my basement. Yeah, the improvements we made, with him taking that oil tank out, I was able to get some shelving, which can be used for canning stuff at some point. Right now it's just filled with pretty stuff. But this, the blanket chest, lets me keep all my paper goods and stuff that isn't cute under there. And one cabinet we added from Facebook Marketplace is for some special stuff. We got a freeze dryer this year. We've been freeze drying food. And we also harvested our first honey, 90 pounds of honey. So this cabinet was perfect for storing freeze-dried stuff as well as all of our honey.
So what kind of freeze-dried food do you have in there?
Well, we have some vegetables we tried, and then we freeze-dried a bunch of sweet potatoes because we had a huge sweet potato harvest. And we're still experimenting. This is like a butternut squash soup. We have some rhubarb. And we do a lot of stuff for the kids. The grandkids love snack things. This is actually freeze-dried strawberry applesauce, which they love. So they're eating applesauce. It's perfect for them. I have peppers and onions and lots of herbs. Herbs are wonderful freeze-dried. That's one of the best things I can do with it right now.
And then the honey down there?
Lots and lots of honey, and we are enjoying it immensely.
Yeah, we had 90 pounds of honey.
Yeah, our bees did a good job.
So we're gonna, maybe somebody will be getting some honey for Christmas.
Maybe, who knows? We can give honey to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you that saw last year's larder tour, this is the cabinet that used to be right in front of the oil tank. And if you remember, I said I hoped that I'd have more canned stuff on here this year and less store-bought. And I did. I got only 2 shelves of store-bought and 1 whole shelf of canned stuff. I made new things. I had French onion soup last year, which is delicious, so I made a bunch more this year. I did tomato soup, southwestern chicken soup, and I did some things with meals in a jar. And they're amazing. They're amazing. The beef stew is really good, and beef stroganoff. Now, you can't can anything with dairy, so the beef stroganoff, you have to add thickeners and the sour cream and cook some noodles when you're ready to serve it. But it's instant beef stroganoff with lots of mushrooms.
Okay, how many jars do you have behind there?
Oh, they go back. These can go back 6, and I think these go back 7. So
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah.
But the meals in a jar, I want to do more and more of those. And I did stuffed pepper soup, I did potato soup, and I did something new this year, broth. We slaughtered our first steer this year, so we had a lot of beef, and I got the beef bones. So I made a bunch of beef bone broth, and we used our Thanksgiving turkeys to make turkey broth. And I hope to get a bunch of chickens and make chicken broth.
Okay.
And
Hey.
I also canned beans. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm just excited to try all kinds of new things and have more food ready to go.
Okay, we're going to look at the thermometer here. So, ooh, it's up a 2 degrees. But it was 57 earlier today, and 47% humidity here, and we're in the very beginning of December.
So this is the cabinet with a lot of the broths and soups and meals in a jar. Everything else that's canned is over here. I'll start back here. I did a lot of pickles. I did pickled peppers. We had a lot of peppers this year. And I made a ton of these sweet pickles. My friend Joyce gave me this recipe, and it is the best pickle in the world. Last year, I think I only did like 4 or 5 jars, and we ran out. Luckily, Joyce gave me some of hers to get us through the year. But this year, I made a lot of pickles. So I don't think we're gonna run out this year. But all the kids, all the grandkids, everybody loves them. I made dill pickles that actually stay crunchy. And then these, I call them Anna's pickles. They're ones that Anna likes, our daughter. And cowboy candy. For those of you that have never tried cowboy candy, it's
Oh, that's amazing.
it's candied jalapenos.
Yeah.
Put it on a cracker with some cream cheese. It is scrumptious.
What I noticed is previously you had these written out by hand, and
he
now they
couldn't-
have these fancy labels on there. How come?
He couldn't read my writing, so I had to print out the labels. So because then the girls come down, all our family comes down and gets stuff, and that way they clearly know what it is. And even grandkids come down and get things off the shelf, so they can see what it is. But I made pizza sauce, bruschetta.
All right, let's look here.
This was like the tomato area.
Okay.
And salsa. And this is actually some brine left over from cowboy candy. I could, what's it called when you sit meat in that? I could soak some meat in
Marinate?
that. Yeah, marinate, that's the word. Just plain tomato sauce, flavored pasta sauce, and lots of sauerkraut.
Now, what size jars? Are they the quarts?
These are quarts, the smaller ones are pints. And I do some of both because sometimes you want a lot, sometimes you don't want a lot. So
How come you don't have the rings on the jars?
you're not supposed to keep the rings on the jars. It can be a false seal, make you think it's sealed, and it's not. You always want them to be nothing else holding them on except the suction, the vacuum pack, the vacuum seal.
Okay.
Down here's some barbecue sauce and something I saw on another YouTube video, 1870s Homestead. She does some cool canning stuff. She did caramelized onions. So anytime I do a recipe, I need some caramelized onions, I'm ready. That's
Hey,
wonderful.
what's behind you in the wall here?
Oh, we had some good spaghetti squash this year and some butternut squash. And as I said, we had a phenomenal sweet potato harvest. There is just a tiny part of it. And these are actually some small ones. We had some that were gigantic. Just unbelievable.
Huh.
You got a good one there, buddy.
Yep, it was nice and easy.
So,
Speaking of onions and caramel onions,
well, I didn't finish the last shelf over
Oh,
here. There's one
okay.
more shelf. And that is some of the sweet potatoes. Since we had so many, I canned a bunch. Potatoes and regular beets and pickled beets.
nice.
So that's this shelf. But yeah, I do have caramelized onions, but we have a lot of just onions hanging, ready to go.
Fresh onions.
And our onions did really well this year. Onions and garlic. We had a great harvest for both of those. And the nice drying rack he made for me works perfectly. And then they get plenty of ventilation in these bags. And they last a long time. Now I have some red ones. They won't last the whole winter, so we need to eat those pretty soon.
Okay.
But we're going great. And then there's actually a bunch of sweet potatoes under this shelf. Oh, here's one of the bigger ones.
Nice.
For Thanksgiving, I actually made 2 9x13 sweet potato casseroles. Only took 4 potatoes. So, this cabinet over here. Now, everything else we grew. Now, 2 things we didn't grow, peaches and apples. Our fruit trees are only 3 years old, so we're still not getting a lot of fruit. So we bought some peaches. I love home canned peaches. They're just better than the canned peaches you buy in the store. So we have tons of peaches. Have some apple butter, caramel apple jam, some peach rum sauce. That was a new thing, and it's very good. We also had a bumper crop of blackberries. So here's some blackberry pie filling, and then blackberry sauce or syrup. And lots of applesauce, which I'm actually going to be making more and putting in quart jars because our grandkids go through it so fast. So,
And they mostly eat it freeze-dried.
no, they eat some freeze-dried, but my daughter-in-law actually has the pouches that kids use. They're refillable,
Oh.
and she refills them with applesauce. So
They take them to school?
our grandson has a little pouch with applesauce most days.
I bet he's the cool kid at the table.
Oh yeah, with farm fresh applesauce.
Yeah.
But down here's more potatoes, just regular potatoes, which they're already starting to sprout because our root cellar still isn't operational. It's almost there. So hopefully we'll have a video for you soon with the root cellar finished. They should actually be a little bit colder. So I'll probably be canning some more potatoes or making some more potato soup soon.
So it's 57 to 59 in here. We'd like it to be in the
40s for the
45,
potatoes.
48.
So they're doing okay, but under there is even more sweet potatoes. When I say we had a lot of sweet potatoes, I
Yeah.
was not kidding.
Nice.
So, but I just love, it's such a good feeling to come down here and see all this canned food.
Yeah.
Now this is basically nutritious stuff, but there's still another whole cabinet with sweet stuff. Okay, this is a fun shelf. The grandkids love it, but so do I. This is all the jams, preserves, syrups, and I went crazy this year. As we said, we had a bumper blackberry crop, so I have a boatload of blackberry jam. Regular blackberry, and then I tried blackberry lime. It is amazing, that little bit of lime flavor. It's delicious. And let's see, we have black raspberry jam, we have red raspberry jam, and strawberry preserves with big hunks of strawberries in it.
Oh, and this is still written in your handwriting.
Yeah, that's in handwriting, and that was neater. You can actually kind of read it.
Yeah, I could read that.
Yeah. The other ones I did get a little bit sloppy and couldn't read them.
And that's a special rack, isn't it?
That was actually a dumbwaiter in the original 1840 farmhouse that went from the kitchen down here, and they would haul stuff from the root cellar
Just
and the kitchen
2 feet
back
over
and
to the
forth.
left is where it went through the floor.
But it's perfect for all the jams and preserves.
Yeah.
So lots of blackberry stuff and then a ton of strawberry stuff. My one granddaughter loves strawberry and so do I. And let's see, we did peach preserves and blueberry preserves with whole blueberries in them. My daughter-in-law used to eat this at a cafe, I think it was in New York, and she loved it. And we tried to duplicate it, and she says we got pretty close. So blueberry preserves. Then more blackberry jam, and then also blackberry syrup. If you remember last year's video, I only did 4 jars of blackberry syrup, and we ran out early. And I said, this year, we're not going to run out. This whole shelf is blackberry syrup. There was some over there. There's actually extras back here. We're not going to run out of blackberry syrup. Okay, now the bottom shelf is strawberry raspberry syrup. And that's a funny story. I actually got 2 bags of what I thought were strawberries out of the freezer to turn into syrup. And after they thawed out the next morning, I realized I had a bag of strawberries and a bag of red raspberries. Thus, the strawberry raspberry syrup. But it's really good. And I also made peach syrup. I love peaches, so peach syrup, it's a more subtle taste, but it's good. So all the different fruits and preserves and jams, and oh, I love this shelf.
Good
Every
stuff.
morning we have usually eggs with English muffins or bagels or something with lots of jam or honey slathered on it. So I enjoy it. Now, one improvement we made this year, Donnie built all these shelves last year for me to keep my empty jars. Well, I've accumulated, as you can see, a lot of jars. Probably over 600 jars. So when they start getting empty this year, they're not all going to fit there. So I've shuffled things around. This is actually going to be all the extra half-pint jars.
Okay.
But Donnie found a creative way for me to keep all my pints and quarts. Well, right here is what used to be a big long trough. It's cut in half because of an addition, but that was actually the original refrigerator in the 1840 farmhouse. And our electrical stuff is back there, so we have to have a path, but this wonderful shelf is perfect for storing all my quart jars and my pint jars, and then I have some on this side, so I will be able to store all my empty jars very organized, very neat, in a very efficient way. So I think we've made the best use of space in this room possible. Plus, added a few things to make it pretty. Have to have things pretty.
Well, we've been working in this larder for 3 years, and this part of the room, coming down the stairs, has always been dark, and Brenda wanted to have a light. So we added this light. And in the process, we discovered one of the biggest surprises we've had in the 3 years. We weren't sure where to put it. Right here on this side of the stairs, we hung it there, and then we came over here to hang it. And let me know when you can see it.
We see it.
But look at this, 1880. This is the wall here where the 1880 addition was. So naturally, this is a limestone wall, and it's covered with the original mortar. And this mortar is just lime and sand. So to make it stronger, what they would do is put a thin coat. You can see it right here. It's peeling up in places, but a plaster coat over it. And when they put the plaster coat over it, when they did the 1880 addition, they put the 1880 here. And that just appeared to us when we put the light over there. We've passed this how many hundreds and hundreds of times, never saw it. And when we put the light there, boom, and we both saw it at the same time. So that was pretty fun, wasn't it?
It was amazing. Thanks for joining me and letting me show you all around my larder. I hope you could pick up on the fact that I love this room, and I love having all this food preserved, mostly food that we grew in the garden or beef that we grew out in the field. It's just, I can't describe the feeling. It's just amazing to know that we grew this food and I preserved it. And those of you that have never watched us before, we only bought this farm 3 years ago. And up until 3 years ago, I had no idea how to can anything, let alone pressure can. So the first year I learned, I experimented, I did a few things. Last year I did some more, and this year I did more. My friends,
how many cans do you have?
There's probably 600 jars canned, I think. Maybe only 550 are full, but there's still a few meals in a jar that I want to try. My friends have said that when I get into things, whatever it is, I kind of really go all out. You think they're right. But it is just such a good feeling to know our whole family eats out of this. My daughter-in-law, my daughter, and my son, they all come and get things out of here and take home and eat. So they can all eat really nutritious, good food. We know what's in it. We know where it came from. And it's just, and I love canning. If Donnie can tell you, any day I have a day in the kitchen where I'm canning, I'm happy. I love it. I love working in the garden and I love growing it, but something about canning it and preserving it. And the freeze dryer, we have a lot to learn yet. That's still a new method that I'm going to be learning more this year. But for those of you that have never canned or are just starting out in homesteading, don't be afraid to try it. It's not hard. I mean, I'm 60, okay? And if I can learn new things and do it, anybody can.